Good morning, cultists! Welcome to Dessert Time with CthuLoops. Alright, so we just finished our Great Pyramids of Pisa campaign, which of course means that it's now time for a post-mortem. So if you've never been to one of these before, welcome, but essentially, if you're expecting any content where we actually progress the campaign in a way, you won't find that here, because we'll just be talking about the highs and lows of the campaign, go down memory lane and talk about the different rulers that we've had, as well as we'll do a tour around the world, and then last but not least, talk about the future. So, like I said, nothing that'll actually progress the campaign, though I may maybe tidy some stuff up, but we'll see. We'll see. The time will not advance. At least, it usually doesn't. I think we've had maybe one post-mortem where I've actually advanced the time a little bit, but yeah, it was just to, I guess, see the end result of a decision that I made or something, I think. But anyways, let's get into it. So, I guess what we'll do is we'll start by talking about the different rulers that we've had and go from there. We'll talk about the highs and lows and the highlights and all that jazz, I guess, throughout. Yeah, I think maybe we should do that. Or I guess maybe... Yeah, so in case you haven't noticed, none of this is scripted. I haven't written anything down, though maybe I should have. But, yeah, that's fine. Okay, so let's talk about the different rulers that we've had. Starting from the very beginning, of course. Okay, so we've had 4 rulers. Counting Isis, of course, who is now 74 years old. But we started as Eri of Daju, I believe, was the original... Wait. I know we were in the Duchy of Darfur, but... Yeah, I believe the kingdom name was originally Daju. He did become the king of Daju, yes. So I forget how old he was when we started out, but I believe he started out with one son, Ederisu. And we'll also talk about some of the non-rulers as well, some of the more notable characters that we've had. But essentially, Eri, as he was formerly known as, I'll just refer to him as Eri, not Ra, because, you know, Eri was his born name, I guess. But anyways. So Eri, of course, starting out, was able to raid and all that jazz, and we quickly built up a fair bit of money, and we were able to carve out our own little kingdom of Daju. Wait, was it the kingdom of Daju? No, it was the kingdom of Darfur, never mind. I'm sorry, Daju was our culture, not the kingdom name. My bad. So yeah, we started with the kingdom of Darfur. I mean, we didn't start with that. Eri made that eventually. I'm like jumping all over the place here, but essentially, I believe he started with his son Ederisu, who has no known mother, whereas everyone else, all of his other children, were born by none other than Shawada. Poor Shawada just could not catch a break. Every time we hosted a party, despite the fact that she prepared for everything, she was not given credit at any point. So poor Shawada Dara of the famous Dara dynasty. I believe she was divorced near the end of her life, I believe. And then he married, I think, a couple more ladies. Yeah, so after Shawada, we had Barakissa and also Kilia. I believe neither of them had any children of the Eri, so yeah, I guess they were basically just there to warm a seat, I guess you could say. Yeah, so I mean, I think Shawada was definitely our more notable wife of Eri. Only because of the, I guess, hilarity that ensued from her being denied the credit for organizing those parties time and time again. Which I was hoping would be a familial thing that would happen throughout our campaign, but it only really happened with Shawada. I guess it happened a couple more times with a couple of future rulers, but it wasn't quite as often as it was with Shawada, but yeah. Anyways, So I believe Eri had 7 children, one of which died very unfortunately during a children's party, which I guess happens quite a fair bit, unfortunately. Children just drowning all over the place. Good grief. I mean, what the hell? And from what I've seen, it seems that my incidents of seeing children drown in these social gatherings isn't unique. It seems that a lot of other people, at least in the Crusader Kings subreddit and all that jazz, also experience their children and various other children drowning in parties and whatnot. So, yeah, something to keep in mind, I guess. I think maybe in the future, maybe if I have a character who I know for a fact will be an important character, like an heir, like an intended heir or whatever, maybe in the future, I should avoid sending children to those parties, just in the off chance that things can go south and there's a mass drowning. Like, I don't know, like, who's organizing these parties? Is it, like, Sims players or something? And they all just put the kids into a swimming pool and then delete the fucking the pool ladder or something? Is that what happened? I don't know. Ah, jeez. But how many children? I mean, thankfully, we've only had the one child of ours drown in this. But I feel like throughout this campaign, we've seen multiple children that were not my own drown in these parties and whatnot. So, yeah, something to keep in mind. Sorry, I'm like, if you've watched any of my episodes, you'll know that I like to jump around all over the place. But I think one thing that I really, really enjoyed, that I think I did decently well throughout this campaign, is starting with 2 characters of our dynasty, and then eventually growing to 50? I don't think so. 261 living members. That is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. I think this may be the single biggest dynasty that I've made throughout my campaigns. I mean, I'm sure there are those of you who have accomplished even greater numbers, and you're thinking, oh man, those are some fucking rookie numbers, man. You gotta jack those numbers up or whatever. But yeah, for me, at least, this was a great accomplishment where we've been able to build up our dynasty. Unfortunately, there does appear to be a fair bit of the inbred trait. 19 of our members have the inbred trait. What about people who are still... Everyone. Okay, so a total of 28 out of 367 with the inbred trait. Not bad, actually. Not bad. That's less than... that's fewer than 10% of our dynasty members overall with the inbred trait, which I'm actually kind of surprised by. I was kind of expecting a lot more, but yeah, that's good. One thing that I really wish that I could have had happen in this campaign was getting the pure-blooded trait. Now, it has manifested in certain, not even branches, I guess, because they're all part of the Tutankhamun dynasty. But yeah, I mean, I'm counting this guy as his own branch because he was the child of Mesfin Macht and Ninette. Wait, no, was it him that we were talking? Yeah, he was the one that essentially was in this area for like a very long time, wasn't he? Yeah, and I'm kind of counting him as his own branch because even though he's part of our Tutankhamun dynasty, he was the descendant of Ederisu, who of course was the only child who was not born of Shawada, the party denied. We need to give her like a better title than the party denied. I guess it kind of works, doesn't it? The party denied? It works in like a couple different ways, I guess. But anyways. Yeah, so I'm kind of counting it as his own branch because of the, I guess, split in our dynasty, so to speak. It would be cool if that was kind of more visible in a way. I don't know. I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah. I mean, I guess we can look at our dynasty tree, and wow, this is okay. So it started with Eri, of course, and oh my goodness. Wow, this is extensive. This does not help me at all. And I'm pretty sure parts of our dynasty is going to be... it's more of a family wreath than it is a family tree. There you have it right there. Because of all of the sibling marriages and whatnot. Ah, jeez. But, yeah. Where was I going with that whole dynasty tree thing? Oh, another thing that I think that I did that we did really well in this campaign was keeping on because of the flourishing of our dynasty and the making of satellite kingdoms owned by our cadet branches and all that jazz. We have been able to build up our renown to a fair bit. Wow, we're actually at Glorious. I might actually play this campaign off camera until we get the legendary status, and then I get that achievement. Because, I mean, we've come this far. Why stop now, right? Yeah, I might do that. But, yeah, if I do that, then, I mean, obviously it's not going to be recorded, so, yeah, it's not like it's going to be an epilogue to this campaign or something like that, so, unfortunately, yeah. So we also, during our building up of our dynasty, were able to get the customs, branch completed, and we're almost at the end of our blood stuff as well. I wasn't expecting us to finish any of these branches, but wow, holy crap. I mean, granted, it'd be a lot better if the cost didn't go up with every purchase of these things, since it's, I mean, I guess you could continue building up your dynasty and getting more kingdoms and empires and all that jazz under your house and all that stuff, but yeah, I mean, since the caps out at around, at least in the renown gain for having family members caps out at what was it, 100 or was it 200? I think it was 100, right? Yeah. It's a bit of a shame that the cost goes up by a lot, but anyways, yeah, great that we were able to get the customs branch done. Now, there are a couple of things in this that I thought was really, really good. The learn language stuff, cool. I do wish that there was kind of more to do with languages. Like, it wasn't just this opinion gain or opinion malice reduction as it is now, but rather, say for example, if you speak a certain language and you're plotting against someone who does not speak that language, I kind of wish that you had greater intrigue power, because then you're writing stuff in what is essentially, to the person who is being schemed upon, code, because they don't speak the language and they're not able to read the language, presumably at least. They're not able to read what you're writing as a missive or whatever, so maybe it can increase the secrecy at least, if it not the intrigue power, or maybe it increases the accept chance. I mean, granted, I guess that kind of works out in the way of reducing the opinion malice between characters. But it'd be great if being able to speak a certain language with a potential agent can increase their chance of acceptance, or maybe not even acceptance, but, you know, it can add different flavors to it. Like, maybe you get an event saying, oh, your missive was discovered, but thankfully it was written in a different language, so, you know, nothing came of it. I mean, granted, I suppose the person being schemed upon, if they have the resources, like if they're a king or an emperor or, you know, noble, they might be able to hire someone who can translate, and that can be another event or something. I don't know. I think it would be cool if there could be more done with languages, because it's a great addition. I just wish that there was more to it. And the language learning stuff wasn't just, oh, you look at it for a few months and then you might get an event or two, and then that's it. Also, weird how frequently we were getting events where we were like forgetting languages or whatever. But yeah, also not great. I hope that they fix this in the future. When we were learning a language, we were, I believe, very close to completing that language. I think it was with Eri? I forget who it was with. But I believe we were in the process of learning a language, and then that person that we were, it's not like we were even learning that language from that person, but the person that we had targeted to do the learn language scheme to, I believe they were imprisoned, and that just completely made me forget the learning of that language. So hopefully that's something that they'll fix. I think we've had in the past, when the language learn target died, we were able to switch the target to someone else or something. That might have been an oversight, so hopefully that's something that they'll fix in the future, but whatever. It's not a huge deal because language learning for the most part is only just a consumption of time. And I guess sometimes you do get the stress events and all that jazz too, but yeah. I guess one thing that I did that I kind of liked, but maybe we can change in the future, is sticking to certain traits when it comes to childhood education. So one trait that was fairly common amongst our rulers, and I'm not talking about the rulers of the satellite kingdoms and all that jazz, I believe is gregarious. Yeah, gregarious was fairly common, and I really got to like that trait. I mean, granted, it's a pretty decent trait to begin with. The diplomacy and the personal scheme power and the opinion of fellow gregarious stuff, but also the hidden stuff that you don't see, like when you're like, I guess plotting, or sometimes the events would have beneficial stuff because we're gregarious and all that jazz. I guess something that we could have tried more is trying out the other traits. So maybe that can be something that we can possibly look into in the future, but we'll see. And we'll talk about the future of everything at the end of this, I think, after our post-mortem, after our tour around the world. But anyways, so I guess that's one thing that we could have changed. I guess brave was another fairly common trait. Yeah, I guess as common as gregarious. I do wish that we had the content trait a lot more, because that has become one of my favorite traits in CK3. Not so much in CK2, but yeah, I think it's, well, I mean, ambitious is also nice, but it has its problems, doesn't it? But anyways, sorry, we were talking about Eri here. So Eri died of old age at 72. Was that a fairly common age? No, I guess not really. No. But then again, three dead rulers is not really much of a statistic, is it? So, anyways, founded the Tutankhamun house, obviously, and then also reformed Kushitism, which happened a lot sooner than I expected. I thought it would take at least a couple of generations for us to reform Kushitism, but I'm really glad that we kind of got that out of the way and dealt with, because then because essentially this campaign was more so focused on the cultural revolution and all that jazz, more so than the religion stuff, which was kind of more a bigger deal in the previous campaigns. But he also founded the Nubawa culture, which of course was the mixing of the Nubian and Zagawa culture. Even though Eri started with the Daju culture, we deemed that Nubian was maybe a better fit for the ancient Egyptian, I guess, feel that we were going for, especially with the agrarian and land of the bow and all that jazz. That worked out really well, because the xenophilic stuff also allowed us to, I think, really kind of expedite our acceptance with the other cultures, and the eventual hybridization with the Egyptian culture, which has now been replaced with Kemet. But yeah, it's a shame that when you hybridize with, if you've already hybridized with a culture and then you hybridize with another culture, it's a shame that you lose the acceptance that you previously had with that former culture that you hybridize with. Because as you're aware, when you hybridize with a culture, you get 100% cultural acceptance with both parent cultures. It's a shame that doesn't persist when you hybridize further. Like, I wish it would continue with the 100% acceptance. Though, I guess it kind of makes sense that it doesn't, because the hybridized culture is, in certain ways, a new culture, right? So I guess that kind of makes sense, but it would be nice if we had kept the acceptance, but I don't know. Maybe that's a little too powerful. I have no idea what people's opinions are on that, but yeah. Sorry. Again, I'm like really jumping all over the place. So I think one of the other things that worked out really well in terms of our customs, or sorry, not customs, but our legacies stuff, is the combination of shared ideas. So gaining a weak hook when landing a new vassal of a different culture in the land of their culture, plus the perk Golden Obligations, because this allowed us to install people of a different culture than our own, or at least people of the relevant culture in the territory that they're given, and then essentially waiting until they have like 50 ducats or however much money, and then using that hook to basically pay you a free 50 ducats. That, I think, was a pretty awesome combination with the Golden Obligations. But overall, though, I will say that the customs lineage, with the exception of a couple things, I think not too amazing, especially with the side-by-side or the celebrate other cultures decision. I mean, sure, it's nice, because we are able to... Oh, do we no longer have it? Do we not even have it anymore? But, oh, look at that. We can now celebrate a whole bunch of other cultures. Wait. With Bedouin, we have 85. Daju, 100, I think. Yep. Nubian, 100. So I guess maybe the cutoff is 70 or 75, around there is kind of my guess. Yeah, this is unfortunately a little underwhelming. Though I don't know if any of the other top tier legacies is... House Guard sounds amazing. Yeah, but you can only recruit one House Guard per house, I think, right? Or whatever, or per ruler, I believe. Home Estates is also nice because of the increase to the domain limit, but +1 to your domain limit generally isn't a huge game changer. So yeah, this sounds pretty awesome. The family connections, interaction acceptance from intimidated or terrified, 100% increase, because that's a pretty hefty bonus as it is. And especially now, since it's so difficult to get dread. I believe you can only get dread if you execute, at least in terms of executions, you used to be able to get dread just by killing anyone. But now I believe it's more so restricted to either rulers or former rulers or something to that effect, I believe. So, yeah. So it would be... oh, it actually says 75%. Interesting. Okay, so the cutoff is actually 75%. Gotcha. Understood. But yeah, it would be great if this was a little bit more beefed up. I guess the cultural emissaries was also pretty good, because you can give it to a child that you've been educating in many different languages, and then they can essentially, yeah, because then you get the different culture opinion plus 15, which essentially makes it so that vassals that you have of a different culture who are at 100% acceptance with you are like you more than vassals of your own culture, especially with the open-minded perk also synergizing pretty well with that. So yeah, I guess something that we could have done a little bit more differently in this campaign is maybe trying out the different lifestyles. I had initially wanted to focus more on diplomacy so that we would get defensive negotiations, and then we can maybe get better alliances with other family members with whom we might have a harder time getting alliances unless we do marriages and all that jazz. And also maybe getting alliances with vassals, because that's the one thing that I wanted to do more of in this campaign was when we converted to the clan clan government system, that I would have lots of children who would then be married off to my various powerful vassals. But that didn't really happen, especially with the religion being having the divine marriage stuff. I guess that kind of like maybe precluded that. But I suppose the idea is that you, with the clan system at least, is that you would land people of your own dynasty, and then, you know, kind of keep things within the family, I guess in a more distantly related way, not so much with siblings and all that jazz. But yeah, so I guess that's something that we could have maybe done. But anyways, and speaking of religion, and again, sorry, I'm like jumping all over the place. Speaking of religion, I guess something that we did a little bit differently in this campaign was we didn't really have anything that was aggressive at all. At least I don't think so. Our tenets were all very much so for ourselves. It didn't really affect people outside of our family or realm, more so, I guess. Like, we didn't have the warmonger stuff and all that jazz. What did we do in our previous campaign with the Freya-Kula? I believe the Freya-Kula were more warmongery, if I recall. I forget, but yeah. Because I usually go with a very kind of war focus in a lot of my, I guess, gameplay. This was, I feel, like a very refreshing change of pace. The adultery was hilarious, though. It really, I feel like making adultery criminal or even shunned is, I don't want to say overpowered, but because of the AI's tendency to be extremely horny at all times, I do feel like it kind of makes control over your vassals a little bit easier, because, you know, you have vassals who are just constantly fucking each other non-stop, somehow at the, like, they're being ruled by the whims of their genitalia, which I suppose, you know, kind of comes with the territory of being horny and all that jazz, but still. Yeah, I don't know if I'm really saying anything in terms of like, oh, this needs to be fixed, but yeah, I think if the AI kind of needs to take into account the doctrines of their religion a little bit better before they decide to go around fucking each other. But I don't know. I mean, maybe this was a thing in like medieval times where people just went around constantly horn-dogging all over the place. I suppose that's kind of it, isn't it? I mean, that's where all the old songs and all the old fiction and all that jazz was about. Just constantly going around fucking each other. I don't know. Good grief. But yeah, sorry, we were talking about the legacies and all that jazz. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to say about the custom stuff. I was hoping to get more into the law stuff as well, and some of the other legacies, but I suppose since I didn't really think that we would even finish the customs one, I don't know what I really thought would happen. But anyways, I guess I'm happy with what we accomplished, but still would have been cool to gain access to other stuff. But I realized that, you know, having access to all the other legacies early on is a little overpowered, so fair enough, right? Fair enough. Anyways, okay, I think that's about enough about Eri. He reformed the religion, created the Nubawan culture, yeah, fought in 33 wars, Bis was 39 wars, Sekhmet was 74 wars, and Isis was 26 wars. Wow. Because after Eri, who had many children, also, something that I really wanted to do in this campaign was, I guess it was kind of an idea that I'd entertain, would be to have, like, story recap episodes, I guess you could say, where essentially I would explain the headcanon of this campaign and the different things, and then talk about, like, make up a story kind of on the spot of all the stuff that has happened so far. Because the idea that I had in my head was that with the story between Bis and her sister was that Bis, being the older sister, thought that she deserved the land that was given. I believe she was given the Duchy of Kordofan fairly early on. And so in my mind, Bis, becoming jealous, decided to take up dueling as a kind of hobby, which she did. And then I believe it was our decision to make sure that she was well educated in dueling. So we got her a tutor. And then eventually, I think her jealousy, in my mind at least, her jealousy of being the younger sister and having a land to rule before Bis did, she got jealous and attacked who managed to survive the duel, but was wounded, and I believe she gave birth. I think she was actually healed before the birthing, so I don't know if the duel actually had an effect, but in my mind, at least, my thinking is that she was pregnant at the time, and Bis wasn't aware, and because of the injuries that she sustained, that sustained during the duel with Bis, she died during the pregnancy, and Bis really blamed herself for it, and decided that, you know, I'm not going to raise my sword against, or my Khopesh against another fellow Kushite, or, you know, some of our dynasty. So then she went out to conquer the entirety of the Horn of Africa in her lifetime, no less. Which I wasn't sure that we were able to accomplish, or that we were going to accomplish, but she did. And then decided that to teach her children to never fight amongst each other, because she wanted to avoid what happened with her sister that she loved dearly, but was intensely jealous of when she was younger. So she made sure that all of her children understood that, oh, they shouldn't be fighting each other, which is why, in my mind, Sekhmet was always very adamant in stopping any infighting between the satellite kingdoms and all that jazz. But yes, Bis's greatest accomplishment was, of course, the conquering of the entirety of the Horn of Africa and whatnot. And then, what else was there? She was also impatient like her father, but also brave, and maybe not honest, but certainly quite gregarious. Did she do any plotting? No, she didn't do any murderations, because I believe she believed that was to kind of like below her, even though she was raised in the ways of scheming, funnily enough, by her father. She believed that to be below her. I believe, though, didn't we get Bis to like kidnap a whole bunch of people? Yeah, so even though she believed straight up murder was below her, she wasn't above kidnapping people, I suppose. So, you know, there's that. So, some maybe not hypocrisies, so to speak, but certainly conflicting thoughts, I guess you could say, in our but I think that's kind of fair to say about people in real life. I think most people have some form of a conflicting thoughts or beliefs or whatever in one form or another, but yeah. Anyways, Bis, I believe, I forget if she did anything crazy in terms of her culture, but she, funnily enough, despite her education, And the fact that she had the schemer thing, she ended up focusing on scholar stuff. Yeah, I guess I really like the scholar perk tree. Learn on the job is definitely one of my favorite perks in this game. Absolutely. Such a powerful thing to have your your stats go up by 20% of your counselor's stuff, which of course makes it a lot more of a delicate balancing act if you're a smaller realm and you don't have as much personal power, where you kind of rely on the opinion of your powerful vassals and all that jazz. Having to balance that out, because a lot of times the powerful vassals are not often the ones that are the best suited for the job, right? Like we have Neferetum, my brother, cousin, and brother-in-law. Brother, cousin, and brother-in-law, what the fuck? Who, I mean, I don't need to have him as a powerful vassal, but if I were personally weaker, then that would certainly be a kind of thing to consider. It's like, oh, do I want to go for the more less powerful vassal who is better suited for the job, so that I myself get a better boost to my score? You know, things like that. So it is interesting. I guess it kind of adds a certain layer of challenge as well, but I guess it kind of makes it easier overall. Anyways, I don't know if there's too much to say about Bis. You know, the story with was, I think, kind of fascinating, and again, in my head, it kind of consolidated the idea that Bis really didn't want her religion people as well as family members to go to war with each other and all that jazz, and always focused her rage and fury towards what she considered heathens and infidels, etc., etc. So yeah, she unified all of East Africa. And then, of course, it was Sekhmet who... Oh, also, a cool thing that happened in this campaign was the fact that we had all these kingdom titles made for us automatically. I did not think that was going to be a thing, but with the Confederate partition, it actually really helped us out. Because despite the fact that everything went to Sekhmet, and not anyone else, we were given these kingdom titles for free, which of course allowed us to separate them without having to worry about any money and all that stuff. Of course, the downside to that is that you don't get any of the prestige for having those titles made automatically, but depending on what you're trying to accomplish with the prestige, that may not be a huge factor. So yeah, and of course there are other ways to gain prestige as well, one of which we didn't really do in this campaign, which was the whole seducing and romance stuff. I believe romance does, if you try to romance someone who is of a higher station or of a high station overall, I believe you gain a bit of a prestige from the success of that as well. So yeah, but thankfully we didn't really struggle too much with prestige. I believe there were a couple of times where we were kind of waiting for prestige to build up so that we can get access to different tiers of wars and all that stuff, but it didn't happen too much, and I feel like it didn't really hamper our campaign as much either. So yeah, I don't think that was anything to really fix or whatever in this campaign. But yeah, okay, so Bis united East Africa. Sekhmet, of course, established the satellite kingdoms, and I believe it was also Sekhmet who formed who did everything in not West Africa, I guess, but in the western part of our glorious family's reach, I suppose you could say. Man, the whole thing with Kanem, that I felt was... I don't want to toot my own horn here, but with the whole thing with... was it Nri as well? Nri, no, I believe Nri we conquered... Yes, Nuri, I believe we kind of conquered, didn't we? I forget. I'm so sorry. But yeah, Kanem, however, I thought was a pretty masterful stroke where we got Osiris married to the former ruler. I believe she was in a bit of a tight spot, where I think she was under attack at the time, and she desperately needed allies, so she agreed to a traditional patrilineal marriage, which of course resulted in a few children, but more notably, oh wait, I'm trying to look at the, yeah, okay, so she ended up with a few children. Unfortunately, the eldest was not of our dynasty, so, you know, we had to arrange a few accidents here. But I'm glad that that paid off, and then Kanem eventually came under our rule, which of course helped out with the decision to, you know, what's it? What was that thing that we got? Dynasty of Many Crowns? That's it, yes. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Also really cool that the that Yemen here basically formed by itself. I believe it was a like former like small duchy of Danakil that started with us trying to reach out and like establish more allies and all that jazz, which then eventually grew up to this, which was pretty insane and fucking awesome. I love seeing that kind of shit. And I guess we could have seen more of that possibly if I had let the AI family members attack each other and duke it out or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know if that really would have worked out the way that I think it would have. And I'm actually kind of glad I stopped those, because I think that would have maybe jeopardized our taking of the Dynasty of Many Crowns. Although, I guess with Yemen and also the fact that we could have gone with Cyprus and Keftiu. I forget what it was called before. Crete, that's it. With the kingdoms of Cyprus and Crete being an option, I suppose that wasn't completely necessary, but still. I'd rather our family members don't fight each other. But then again, we eventually did kind of ease up on that restrictive attitude and then just let them duke it out, but yeah, that's fine. Something that I really enjoyed doing this throughout this campaign is looking at the historical records and trying to come up with different names and all that stuff to fit our kingdoms, and also the coat of arms designs. That was interesting. It was, I think, I don't know if I can say it's equal parts grueling as it was entertaining, but yeah, it was difficult because of how simplistic the system is. I do wish that they would kind of expand it a bit more and then make it a little bit easier to make these custom coat of arms in the future, but yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this. It, I think, allowed me to kind of try to think of creative solutions to certain problems, and trying to. It also allowed me to do a lot more research into this part of the world that I don't always research into. I mean, I knew a little bit about Sudan and all that jazz, based on my previous personal real-life experiences and all that stuff, but yeah, not too much. Not certainly not about the Igbo and the Yoruba cultures and some of the other cultures here, like the Beja and all that stuff. I thought was really cool to discover. And hopefully, I mean, who knows, but maybe something that, and you know what, we'll talk about the future of the stuff in later on, but yeah. What were we on about? Okay, so Sekhmet, in addition to the creation of these satellite kingdoms, many wars, 74 wars, like holy crap. I thought Bis was going to be our most warmongery ruler, but no. Sekhmet, despite the fact that she received her education in philosophy and all that jazz, really did live up to her name as the, I believe Sekhmet is one of the Egyptian goddesses of war, isn't she? Like, I know she's the lioness goddess, but I believe she's also she's a warrior goddess. but also a goddess of healing. So I don't know if she's necessarily the goddess of war, because I guess in the ancient Egyptian pantheon, there are many different gods of many different things, and a lot of the times they kind of overlap. And it's not like the like Greek pantheon where Ares is the god of war and that's his thing. It's just that they kind of manifest with different traits and things that they're known for. So yeah, I think Sekhmet really did live up to her name, and that she manifested the goddess of Sekhmet. But yeah, somehow ended up with only one daughter, and that's something that I not really intended for in this campaign. Was the line of female rulers. Not that I have had a problem with that, obviously. I actually really enjoy playing as female rulers, if you haven't noticed. I think it's a pretty... It adds I think a different kind of challenge than playing as a male ruler. But that was not something that was actually intentional in this campaign. I guess I mean, I suppose it wasn't surprising considering that we kept the warrior queen's tradition. But I hadn't really given this too much thought when I first started this campaign, and thought that maybe eventually we would just switch over to just equal. But no, we just kind of kept it on female preference, because I think that made things a lot easier in terms of not having our realm split apart upon succession. Hopefully that's something that we can maybe, I don't know, because of the fact that we're all locked into Confederate partition to begin with unless you're of a certain culture or groups of cultures, you're not really able to break out of that. I think it kind of limits what I would like to do in terms of having a stronger gameplay. And I think that's something that I kind of did better in this campaign, is leaning more towards the role-playing side than the power gaming side, and it's something that I would prefer to do in the future as well. Because in case you haven't noticed, CK2, both CK2 and CK3, once you kind of like know the inner workings of the game, not intensely difficult, and this isn't meant to insult anyone. Like, if you struggle with the games, I totally understand. It's a lot to wrap your head around, and please don't take this as some form of like me, like, you know, like thumbing my nose at you or something like that, where I'm like, you get good, scrub. That's not helpful at all. But rather, once you kind of know how to manipulate the game to your advantage, it becomes quite easy to become very powerful very quickly. And yeah, so I think what was something that we did well of in the previous campaign as well as this campaign is kind of sticking with the more role-playing stuff, which is why we also did not use up a lot of the wars that we had access to. Like, I believe with BIS, we had the ability to do a holy war, a kingdom tier holy war for the Kingdom of Egypt, but we opted not to because I wanted BIS's story to be that of unifying East Africa, and I wanted Sekhmet to be the one to lead us into Egypt and then turn it into Kemet and establish all the stuff there. So I like that I did that. I'm sure some people were maybe less jazzed about that because it's not, you know, power gaming, but fuck that shit. I don't want to power game anymore. So yeah, if you think that maybe in future campaigns or something I'll power game, yeah, don't expect that. That's not happening. Especially now that I've got a taste of the role-playing life, I guess you could say. Hence the focus on all these different house coat of arms. Oh my goodness. These new branches really fucked shit up for us, didn't they? Bunch of bastards. Unbelievable, but ignore that. And look at the original stuff, and you'll see that is a very nice common theme. I mean, obviously I've explained this, but yeah, I like that. I really like that we did this, and I really like that that I kept that kind of like similar motif going out throughout the different houses as well. Or sorry, the different kingdom coat of arms as well. It's like the rug that ties the whole room together, essentially. So, yeah, there you have it. Okay, so I think that's, I guess Sekhmet was kind of a more accomplished rulers, wasn't she? Yeah, with the rapid expansion. It would have been great if Sekhmet wasn't the one to begin the invasion of Italy, but I think one thing that this game could really benefit from is the ability to abdicate without having to do that whole very gamey thing of doing like a defending against a war against tyranny or whatever, or like the whole revocation thing and then just surrendering to the war. I really do wish that there were at least maybe some cultures, or maybe it can be like a religion thing, I don't know, where you can choose to step down and then have your heir rule in your stead. Granted, I guess there kind of is a thing in religion, in the religion aspect of it, where you can do ritual suicide. So that's an option where, you know, if your ruler gets to be a certain age, they can just die, and it's not a, it's considered to be a virtuous thing, I guess you could say. But I don't know. I mean, for that to take up a tenant slot, I don't know. I mean, I kind of wish it was more of a cultural thing, or a doctrine even, but maybe that's a little too powerful, because then you can just, once you have a good vassal or a good heir, like a, you know, if for example we had Ra as our next heir, we could just abdicate once he turns 16, and that could potentially be a little overpowery. So I think I kind of understand the decision behind that, but still, it would have been, I think, a much cleaner and, in my eyes at least, a better story if ISIS was the one to begin the invasion of Italy and Africa. But no, I guess we could have gone with Sekhmet invading Africa, and then ISIS doing Italy. I guess that could have also been a good idea. But the whole invasion of Africa thing wasn't really something that I had planned on until pretty much at the end of our campaign, where I thought, well, I mean, we still have some time left over, and we also have another war left over, so we might as well. You know, this kind of makes sense because of the whole relation of Rome and Carthage and all that jazz. So, you know, makes sense from a historical perspective and all that. But yeah, let's see. So after Sekhmet, I don't know if there's too much more to say about Sekhmet. I mean, again, she did accomplish a lot in her lifetime, for sure. And would have been fun to play as her even longer, I admit. Not that there was anything wrong with ISIS, mind you, but I mean, you know, our ISIS. Bit of a problem, I guess, what with the modern context these days. But anyways, ignoring all that, when I refer to ISIS, I'm of course referring to only either our ISIS, our character Isis, or the ancient Egyptian goddess Isis. But yeah, of course, Isis kind of took over the invasion of Italy. I think we had almost finished Sicily when there was a succession, I believe. Or no, wait. Oh no, wait, I think we were actually partway through Romagna. Yeah, because I seem to recall there was a ruler who had a succession sometime after or before Sekhmet died, and then we had to rush to iron that out. Or something to that effect. Man, my memory's terrible, but anyways. Yeah, so she took over partway through, but I think the timing kind of worked out, because I don't know if Isis would have lived on for, well, I mean, she's fine now, but yeah, I guess she's of that age where she could probably just drop dead at any given moment, so I guess the timing did kind of work out, though I'm kind of expecting her to live until at least 80 or so, so But in 6 years, would we have conquered as much? I don't think so. So yeah, maybe it's best that we did begin the invasion of Italy with Sekhmet. But anyways, so yeah, ISIS was able to unify the Italian peninsula, not counting Corsica and Sardinia, but you know, that was never really part of our goals to begin with, so I'm not too concerned about that. Unless maybe Sardinia and Corsica were major parts of ancient Rome, but to my extremely limited knowledge, I don't recall there being many mentions of Sardinia and Corsica. I mean, obviously, I'm guessing they were called different things back then, but yeah, I don't think they were as in the forefront of my knowledge of ancient Rome as I think they are. So yeah. And I've been actually thinking about this guy, and you know what? We don't really need to hurt. And he's only got territory in places where it is not the Kingdom of Africa. So what if we were to say, I don't know, grant this guy independence? I'm actually okay with that. There you go. Slight advance to our campaign or story development. And now we can usurp this, and then he will become, ooh, a small little duke. Perfect. And then we can maybe just give the kingdom away to someone else and then just release them. I guess that that does make things quite easy. Oh well. And that'll certainly reduce the vassal limitation that we have right now, so yeah. Anyways. Okay, so yeah, with ISIS we were able to unify the empire, the Italian peninsula, as well as get the Kingdom of Africa. So yeah. Any notable children that we've had? I mean, I think each ruler has definitely had very notable children who did not become our heirs. For example, you know, Utet and Sepa. Though I think the giving of the kingdoms was through Sekhmet, so yeah, I don't know if we can really... I don't know. And then they, of course, went on to found their own cadet branches and all that stuff. Yeah, do I regret the whole not having the twins make babies with each other? I don't think so, because I was kind of... Honestly, I was a little worried about the inbred trait popping up, because we weren't getting the pure-blooded stuff, so I thought that maybe we may be taking too much of a risk. I'm kind of glad that it worked out that way. I think maybe that could be a thing that we could do in if we have like future campaigns where divine marriage is a thing. Get them while they're still in their baby making ages. Get them married to someone else to avoid the potential for inbreeding, and then eventually get them married to each other once they're past that age of being able to bear children and all that stuff, so that there's less incidents of inbreeding. But maybe that's also the point, so who knows. Anyways, yeah, I guess that's kind of it for ISIS. Oh, also something else that Sekhmet did, I believe she established the Kemet culture. Yeah, I like the culture system. I do. I really do like the culture system. It would be great if we choose to reform stuff, it wouldn't be as expensive, because when the fuck am I supposed to acquire 20,000 prestige? Like, how is that? Is that doable? In a lifetime? I'm assuming it must be, right? Maybe if we're able to get to a much higher level of splendor, perhaps that might be more of an option. But yeah, I guess maybe reform the... Wait, does the ethos cost go up based on... No, the time to establish goes up based on the number of counties with that culture. I see. So I guess maybe the idea is that it's a lot harder to reform the culture than it is to diverge. So maybe the idea is that if you do want to reform it, you can just diverge it instead. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's kind of a thing that we could do. But, yeah. Oh, so in terms of a culture, I did like agrarian, yes. Unfortunately, it didn't really come into effect as much until we got into the Egypt area, or around the Nile, because that's kind of the only place where floodplains exist in this part, I guess. Farmlands? Was there a lot of farmland? I think. Oh, I guess. Never mind. In the Nubian area as well, there's a bit of a floodplains. Yeah, sorry, never mind. The Nile does go farther south, so there's still some floodplains and all that stuff. But yeah, I guess it's a much bigger impact in Egypt proper. But yeah, that was pretty cool. Warrior Queens was also pretty cool, and I'm glad that we kept that throughout the campaign, because I wanted this to, again, not be a complete emulation of ancient Egyptian culture, nor an emulation of modern Egyptian culture at all, but rather a kind of like a mixing of everything that came before us. So ancient Egyptian as well as Nubian as well as Daju. I like to think that we've kept aspects of each of those, although less so with Daju, but I guess Warrior Queens does count, even though it's common with both Nubian and Daju. But yeah, really glad that we got the recognition of talent tradition. Holy shit, this is powerful. It may even be a little too powerful, perhaps. I don't know. But I really like this. And maybe it might be something that I could do in future campaigns. Though, who knows if you'll actually see those future campaigns. But anyways, yeah, I guess we didn't really benefit as much from the momentary having of Mulathamun. Where did we get that from? Oh yeah, the desert ribots. Yeah, it's nice, but we didn't really use the Mulathamun as much, so there you have it. More so the camel cavalry, but yeah, we I mean only had the one stack. Of course, these are the still same camels that we had from the Ares days. They're still alive due to them being the Thracian camels, or I guess the Kemetic camels? I don't really know. They're not really from Thrace, are they? So, Thrace, here. I'm like looking at the wrong place again. They're not really from Thrace, wherever Thrace is. I think Thrace is around... Is it like around here? I think so. Like, I know Laconia is basically Sparta. Or wait, is Thrace more... I forget where it is, but anyways. They're not the Thracian camels, are they? No, they're more so the... I don't know. We need to give them a better name, because I guess Thracian horses sounds nice, but I don't know what part of that makes it sound nice. But anyways, the Kemetic camels. Shit, I got distracted. What was I talking about? I think we were done talking about the different rulers that we've had. Yes. Oh, we were talking about the culture stuff. Yeah, Land of the Bow, also nice. Though it really... I see. So I guess maybe the idea was that we should be building more hunting grounds. Fair enough. Oh, speaking of which, something that I think I did really well in this campaign, personally speaking. So of course, in comparison to other people, I'm sure I am sorely lacking in this department. But at least for me, a personal accomplishment was the fact that I really kept on top of the building of our holdings. At least more so in comparison to previous campaigns where I essentially just let these fester and don't really invest that much money into the development of these holdings and all that stuff. But I think in this campaign we've done pretty well in keeping on top of that. And I think that really showed with our quick growth to our income, as well as other bonuses that we've gotten from those. So yes, hopefully something that I can keep on top of in the future as well. And hopefully something that I'll just get better at in the future. Especially since, hopefully, maybe I'll learn, which holdings are better to make in CK3. I remember... I forget what the order of business was in CK2 in terms of that, but yeah, I seem to recall I knew instinctively, we should build this in this county and this in this county, or this in this situation, but I guess I'm a lot less familiar with that in CK3. But, you know, that I think is something that comes with time, so whatever, it's fine. What else did we do? Due to the cultural mixing, we were able to keep on top of our innovation stuff. And I'm really, really glad that we ended up with the West African canoes. Granted, not like hugely relevant, I guess you could say, in our campaign, because we didn't do too much river traveling. Although it did help with our initial, I guess, invasion of Egypt. So yeah, you know what? Never mind. It did make a pretty big difference in our campaign. So I'm really glad that we got that done. Wow, we don't even qualify for that shit anymore. Holy crap. That is incredible. But yeah, in addition to the culture mixing stuff, because of our focus on scholarship, we were able to keep on top of our innovation stuff. I do wonder if maybe we might be the most advanced culture in terms of innovations unlocked. At least in this campaign. So far, rather. I actually would not be surprised if we are. Because I know a lot of the Indian cultures are very advanced in comparison. Oh, Tamil is actually fairly similar. Oh, never mind. The Kanauji have more unlocked than we do. Technically one more than we do because of the... If you're not including the cultural stuff, then I guess they are slightly more advanced. But yeah, I guess something that's kind of easier to do now is advance in innovation, because if you have a culture that's close to you, that's got innovations that you don't have, then, you know, it's best to mix with them. And then you can just boost up your technology that way. Which, I don't know, I mean, I guess it's a bit of a double-edged sword because it also benefits the AI, but if the AI is more powerful, then they provide more of a challenge, so I'm down for that. But anyways, I guess the Mubarazun also kind of worked out, but yeah, not as, I don't know. I do wish that this would kind of show me, like, oh, some commander traits and personality traits have extra dry terrain bonuses. Like, can you give me more information about that, please? Because, like, which personality traits, which commander traits, and what exactly are these bonuses? It'd be great to have that information on hand, but, you know, whatever, it's fine. I'm not upset about this game hiding information from me at all. It's not something I bitch about constantly. Absolutely not. But anyways, it is kind of a shame that we can't hybridize with a culture that we share a heritage with. I guess I kind of understand the impetus behind that, but at the same time, you would think that maybe it would be the one thing that makes it easier to hybridize with them. But whatever, it's fine. I guess I'm also not really a big fan of the fact that we have to, you know, that we can't have similar pillars or whatever, that we have to switch something up. But I guess from the perspective of the game, it's like, if you're not going to make anything different, then why make it at all? So I guess I kind of understand, but it'd be nice if you could just, you know, change the traditions rather than have to worry about the pillar. Then again, it wouldn't have been as big of a problem for me if I had chosen to not roleplay this as much, because we could have just switched our heritage or our language or whatever, but I decided to keep our heritage and language the same throughout the campaign for role-playing for purposes. But yeah, and I guess that's pretty much all I have to say about the cultures or the tradition that we picked in this campaign, or had access to in this campaign. Yeah, I like the culture system. I think it further increases the customizability of the game, of your campaign. And that's something that I've always really loved in CK2, and hopefully they'll expand on more in CK3. Because the more customizable, the more kooky shit that you can make, the more wacky, weird stuff that you can do, I think the better. I mean, obviously there's a certain kind of limit to that because you can't get too wacky without it becoming immersion breaking, but at the same time, being able to kind of like make whatever you want in however fashion you want, I think is a pretty awesome thing for this type of game. Because, I mean, what's to really separate us from another ruler, right? Another campaign, or whatever. But yeah. So I think that it obviously the extra customizability is good. I guess that's it in terms of our culture stuff. Yeah, I guess the hybridizing window of like, oh, you can only hybridize with another culture after 50 years thing. I understand. Yeah. I kind of wish there was modifiers that would reduce that more. But oh well. That's fine, I guess. Whatever. Because, of course, then it makes it much easier to gain access to a whole bunch more innovations if you're able to hybridize that quickly. But yeah, fair enough. Okay. Talked about the cultures, talked about the religion briefly, which I don't really think we need to expand on. Dynasty stuff, I think we talked about. Good that we kept on top of the family marriages and expanding of our dynasty. Also, I'm really glad that I kept on top of the courtier management stuff as well. I don't think I needed to be as crazy with our marriages. I think at the end of like every other episode or so, I tried to arrange marriages for all unwed characters in my court in an effort to bring in more talented people, which I think proved to be a little bit more unnecessary near the end of our campaign, because once we got the Grand Lodgings court amenities, it made it a lot easier to just invite people without having to get them married or betrothed, or yeah, get them married to someone else prior. Why does this guy have like a really tiny axe? Or is he so massive that a fucking halberd looks like a child's toy in his hand? Can I... There really, really needs to be a free view of the courtroom. And I think they could really benefit from also letting us customize the interior of this a bit more. Because I really, really wish we had kept the interior of the old throne room. Like this! This looks, in my opinion, I much prefer the aesthetics of this, even though the lighting I think could still do with a bit of a tweaking. I think this, to me at least, is a lot more pleasing than what we currently have. I guess I prefer hardwood flooring on the feel of my bare feet than I do these kind of cold tiles. But I don't know. That's fine. Yeah, I also wish that, you know, we could also customize some of the artifacts. Like, I get that we get the Arabian War Banner. Is there, like, why can't we change the look of it? Because it doesn't really fit our aesthetic. And I think a lot of these are, yeah, they're like all written in Arabic and all that stuff too. It just doesn't really, you know, work for our aesthetic. I don't know. But I guess maybe asking for customizable artifacts is a little too much, so that's fair. That's fair. One thing that I did have an issue with the artifact system, and I'll talk about that since that's kind of a new system as well. There's so much rubbish artifacts. Like, look at all this fucking garbage that we have. And I guess that the idea is that if you end up with like garbage stuff, just give it away to like other people who could benefit more from the garbage. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of like the system. I don't know if there's too much to really say about it. Oh, one thing that I did find really annoying about the artifact system is the fact that, because I think they actually supposedly addressed this in a patch, but like different dynasty members having claims on your artifacts and all that stuff. It's like, I get it, but who was it? Miana, one of our notable family members, only because of her sheer wanton, rageful desire, if that makes any sense, for some of our artifacts, and her just fucking insane obsession with Mr. T's necklace and all that stuff. Yeah, I kind of wish that our family members wouldn't be so absolutely insanely jealous about garbage artifacts, but I don't know. At the same time, knowing how people are in real life, I kind of understand. I understand, because, you know, I'm sure humans just like material things. That's a given, I think, so I understand that it can be a pretty realistic thing, and I guess it kind of I'm hoping that it's a thing that's really dependent on their personality traits. Like, maybe if someone is greedy, they prefer to go after those kinds of family artifacts more so than someone who's like content or generous, for example. But who knows, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think if they could maybe expand on the artifact stuff a bit more, and the fact that commissioning artifacts is just gives you like the most garbage bottom tier bullshit is not great, but I understand. I guess maybe it's just the roaming artisans who are meant to be kind of more so the you know, the folks that you want to have making your artifacts and all that stuff. I understand. Still, at the same time. Anyways, we're getting a little long in the tooth here, so I guess we'll do a quick tour around the world. And I say quick, but I don't know how quick it's actually going to be, so I do apologize if this ends up being a lot longer than anticipated. But let's, without further ado, move on to that part of the post-mortem. I'm glad that they added the, sorry, going off topic, immediately. Immediately going off topic. We're not even on the fucking rails here. It's like the train derailed, like, wasn't even, like, on the rails. This isn't a derailment. Anyways. Besides being able to change the interior, the look of the royal court, I also wish, I've forgotten. I've literally forgotten what I was going to say. I knew, oh, I should talk about this in the throne stuff. Oh. I'm glad that they added thrones to the tribal realms and all that stuff. Why couldn't we have had that to begin with? I don't know. I mean, I know certain people said, oh, it's because of performance issues. No, it's not. Don't fucking lie to me. Don't fucking lie to me. That's bullshit. Because they ended up adding courts to tribal cultures anyways. So yeah. I'm glad that they did that. Of course, it's meant to be a lot more restrictive until you get a better government or whatever, but yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I understand. Maybe, I don't know, in the future they can have like a separate tribal thing, or tribal government type thing, besides the whole being limitations, being limited, because it would be great if you could just play as a tribe throughout the campaign and not feel pressure to move on to a different government type, but anyways. Sorry. Instant derailment and whatever aside. Let's look at the satellite kingdoms first, and then we will move on to the rest of the world, which I guess kind of makes sense. So the kingdom formerly known as Arabia, now known as Kedar, initially ruled by Imhotep, my brother, cousin, and brother-in-law, inherited by Dorico. Looking pretty nice with 10,000 troops. Holy crap. That is great. Good for you. Okay, so, oh, wait, Kanem? Hold on. You don't have that many troops, do you? Oh, no, never mind. That was... Oh no, it is Kedar. Sorry, Kedar is the second most powerful branch of our thing. Why is this changing? Oh, it keeps reverting back to whatever. Oh, I see. That's why it's bugged. Okay, I see. All right, well, I don't know if I think they have expanded a little bit into this area here, but I don't know if there's been much in terms of territorial exchange with Kadar since it's been established. Sorry, also brief sidetrack. Oh, I guess we'll go into that later on. And then the Kingdom of Yemen, which I had no hand in whatsoever, which basically just sprung out from the small Duchy of Danakil into this magnificent beast, which I believe may have undergone some insurrection and all that jazz, or rebellion rather. But good for you guys. Aksum, formerly the Kingdom of Abyssinia, I believe. Yes. Initially ruled by Koiden, I believe, the son of Eri, who bears a striking resemblance to his father, gotta be said. But anyways, that aside, looking good, I guess. Cool. Not as powerful as Punt, who was initially two different kingdoms, but I guess it kind of makes sense for Ta-Pesh to be part of another kingdom, since it's basically landlocked within the other realms, as is Ta-Kentit. But you don't see Ta-Kentit wanting to take parts of territory that aren't their own. Ta-Pesh? And what happened with Jaffa and Shakira? Where is Miana? Where is that crazy sack of shit? There she is! Ha! Miana, you unbelievable sack of crap. Fucking... What the hell, Miana? Your stupid obsession with our necklace and all that shit. Anyways. Moving on to Ta-Kentit. Now the Somali Yoruba culture. Sadly, they made some, I think, really poor choices in terms of their tradition decisions. Really just not benefiting anything that they have. Being a landlocked country and having maritime mercantilism. Really? How? How is that gonna happen? Do you launch your... I guess they... Does this count? Not really. I mean, maybe. But do they, what, catapult their ships across into the ocean? They have like fucking giant catapults or like trebuchets lined up on the border edge here, and they just fling them into the ocean, and then some of the sailors survive, some of them have the greatest ride of their lives. All of them, of course, end up with a shed in their pants. But still. What the fuck? Regardless, though, they're all looking pretty good. And I guess they all, like, kind of end up with about maybe 3,000-ish troops each, which, not bad, actually. Not bad at all. Yeah, especially once they group up together to form a mega coalition. I think that'll be a lot more powerful, but, yeah. And then we, of course, have Ta-Sinumsha, land of the clay soldiers. Not looking particularly warlike, and they're also kind of landlocked in, well, I mean, you know, still kind of landlocked a little bit in betwixt, I guess, allies and family members. But yeah, good for you guys. Panem, looking good, and hopefully no further issues. No, they're actually at a point where they seem to be supporting other realms in their endeavor to crush rebellions. Good for you guys. Oh, did not think that you would become this stable. But then again, they also did have some rebellions that they put down, and that we helped kind of put down as well, I think. So they were able to kind of like carve that out for themselves. Great for you. And then I think a similar thing happened with Nuri here. Yeah, where they essentially just underwent a tumultuous time to get to the point they are now. And of course, Yoruba land, which we had not intended to make Kushite, just kind of became Kushite, I think. I think this was one of those places where we had thought maybe we can establish another satellite kingdom, but yeah, that would have been, I think, kind of more difficult to pull off. Or more involved, I guess you could say, so yeah. it's fine that we didn't. Anyways. Banu Katab. Hong. Gur. Ah, still got the Bobo culture. Nice. I love the way that it sounds in my mouth when I say it. Bobo. 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 I like that. Maybe a culture that I can explore in the future. Sorceress mythology. Nice. I like that. I like sorcery. Mel. Okay, I didn't, Cool. Alright. Sorry, I just thought like Mel. Mel? I know someone named Mel. Fuck me. Anyways, Ghana is apparently going through a major crisis here, it seems. Yeah. Subjugation war as well as what appears to be major rebellions. So, I don't know if that's gonna work out. Oh, I see. Top ruler of a different religion. And culture. What? How did this happen? Oh. So, he inherited this. And then... Wait, did he swear fealty to her, or did she swear fealty to him? Because it was mostly the Nyakata dynasty. And then it just suddenly switched to something else, surprisingly enough. But anyways, cool. Sorry, the cultural map mode and the religion map mode, in case anyone's curious. Nothing too crazy in terms of its changes, though it does seem like since our takeover of this part, the Bori culture is starting to, yeah, get stomped out, sadly, but oh well. It does happen, so fair enough. All right, moving to the north, I guess we'll go I guess we'll go clockwise. Nothing too crazy. I remember Canarius was starting to expand, but I think maybe they've been somewhat diminished, because I remember they were like pretty well advanced into what Northwest Africa here, but not so much now, sadly. Yeah. Oh, wait, same dynasty. Okay, so I think what happened was it was just a splitting of the realm. Yeah, it's most likely just a Confederate partition, and these guys they're siblings. I see. That explains it. Okay, so Canaries did actually expand into Marrakesh. Good for you guys. Like I said before, Canarius and all the other island realms have a soft spot in my heart, I guess. I have a soft spot for them, I guess you could say. Yeah. And the religion map mode. Still Ashari. A little bit of a Muwalati, but that's about it. And largely Booter. Baranis. Moroccan is a culture. Interesting. Cool, and I guess that's the de jure culture in Canarius as well. Awesome. Anyways, moving into the Iberian Peninsula, which of course will be a focus in the next DLC. That's gonna come up in, I guess, a few days. Yeah, doesn't seem to be too crazy in terms of territorial expansions. Yeah, I guess I kind of expected more of a singular realm to have more territory in the Iberian Peninsula by the end of this campaign, but no, it's just kind of become very, very border gory, hasn't it? Yeah, Valencia is now French. Gaelic? What the fuck? A Gaelic Navarra? What the hell? That's hilarious. Wow. Still got Visigothic. Nice. Love to see that. What about the... they're the Basque. Though, not very prevalent anymore, it seems. Fair enough. Alright, religion map mode. And culture. Still there, but not a lot of rulers who are Basque, it seems. Anyways, moving on. Aquitaine. Yeah, poor Aquitaine and the ruler that just died from. Well, he just. Oh, he bled to death. Oh, right, because he's a bleeder. I mean, like I said, the history books will say that he died from emotional distress of having lost lost Genoa, but yeah. Anyways, Burgundy, West Francia, Lotharingia now expanding into England. Cool, I guess. Bavaria, sadly, back to being Bavarian and not Gaelic. I was really looking forward to leader kilts, I guess. You know, like lederhosen, but then kilt version of those, and then mixed in with yodeling and also I don't yodeling and bagpiping. That could be a thing, right? Bag yodeling or something. But pipe yodeling? That's it, pipe yodeling. Sounds vaguely sexual, and I like it. Anyways, with Western Europe, where's? Oh my goodness, Burgundy! What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this Berlin nonsense you got going on here? Fucking got their capital in the heart of another realm. Good grief. But anyways, religion map mode, all Catholic, nothing new. Culture, nothing new either. Rhinelander. Interesting. Oh. Formed from French and Franconia. Oh, I see. I thought it was like a pre-existing culture, but no, it was one that was made by the AI. Interesting. French and Franconian to make the Rhinelander culture. Cool. What about these guys? Is that also new? I guess it is. Yeah, it is made by the AI. Interesting. Cool. Oh, sorry. So nothing too crazy there. And then moving into the British Isles. Oh, look at that. That is real nice to see. A fully formed Ireland. Wow. Pretty rare, it's got to be said. At least from my experience, I haven't seen the AI form like a complete Ireland in CK3. Like I don't think ever, really. But yeah, kudos to you guys. Sadly, not insular. But oh well, that's fine. Oh, I was also kind of expecting them to be Germanic, but yeah. Oh well. And then we have Scotland. Cool. Nothing too crazy going on there, it seems. Can we interact with them? Oh, wow. How far can we interact? Okay, so he's too far, and obviously Iceland is... What? How is Iceland closer to us? I guess the sea tiles, maybe? Interesting. Alright, well, anyways. I guess you got a sneak peek at Iceland, looking all pretty much the same, really. Yeah, I guess the Vikings... What the fuck? Okay, never mind. Navarra is... what? Macbellaskita? Macbellaskita. Is that actually like a Scottish name? Macbellaskita. I mean, obviously the Mac part, yes. Ramiro Macbellaskita. That does not, to me, strike me as a very Scottish name, but... maybe it's more Navarran than Scottish. But anyways, I guess it also kind of reminds me of... this is like the AI-generated Fabrosi McCortez, isn't it? Yeah, the character, my go-to made-up character, Fabrosi McCortez. But, yeah. Very, at least from my perspective anyways, very seemingly confusing culture. Just like Fabrosi McCortez. Is he Italian? Is he Spanish? Is he Irish or Scottish? Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows? All we know is that Fabrosi is a big dingus. Anyways, moving back from the British Isles to... I don't know if there's much else to really say. Norse scale culture, pretty cool. I believe, at least according to Assassin's Creed anyways, a culture that actually exists. But anyways, moving back into, I guess now, Central Europe. Germany, still under the rule of the Garlic King, who, despite the fact that he lost his war against me, still really, really likes me. Wow. Man, that's great, because I could really do with an extra increase to our import of garlic. Anyway, we'll be like Japan in our consumption of fish. Even though they catch a ton of fish, they also import a mega ton of fish. It'll be like that. We make all the garlic in the world, and yet we also import everyone else's garlic, so that everyone else in the world has to eat unflavored, unseasoned food that doesn't have traces of garlic in it. Ugh, what a horrible life to live. I would rather die than not have to not be able to consume garlic for the rest of my life. Unfucking believable. Sorry, where was I? Oh, Germany. I guess I do go on rants every now and then about garlic when talking about Germany, don't I? Even though I've never been to I have never actually been to Germany myself, but I don't know. Is that a thing in Germany? Rampant shortage of garlic, or maybe too much garlic? Obviously, not really a thing that exists. Too much garlic. Anyways, Germany, looking pretty much the same. A bit of the apostolic religion popping up here and there, but I don't know if it's anything that is actually a huge deal right now. No, I'm guessing there's going to be maybe a couple of rulers who have it, but not much else. Okay, anyways. I guess we'll also look at Bavaria while we're at it. Yeah, I mean, you know. Same. Still doing Bavaria things. Doodleby? That straight up sounds like a town in Ireland. Oh, I'm from Doodleby. I don't know. It sounds like it, but who knows? Maybe that's not actually how it's pronounced. I'm pretty sure it's not. Anyways, Bohemia, cool. Moving into Scandinavia. Denmark, looking all nice and big. And, aw, man. Really sad that there's no Jewish Sweden anymore. Aw, what a shame. What a downright shame. Any vassal? Oh, look at that. They still have a vassal who's Jewish. Sadly, that's about it, I think. Yeah. Man, they ruined a potential for some hilarity with the Khazarian Judaism being in Sweden. Yeah. Also, was really looking forward to a Khazaro-Norse culture that exists in Khazari and like in Crimea. What the fuck? That is hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. That is great. I'm so sad that it didn't flourish more, but yeah. Anyways, Sweden. Oh, that's a mouthful. Cool. And Finland. What the fuck is wrong with your anime-esque character wife? Or I guess it's less so anime-esque character and more so, you know, those like shitty-ass Netflix cartoons that they've been pumping out? Yeah, it kind of looks like she's a character from one of those. I mean, no offense to anyone who enjoys those cartoons. I'm just saying it's shitty because it just seems like they're like mass-produced and like they pump them up pretty quickly or something. I don't know. No offense to anyone again. Yeah. And then now, oh, sorry, religion that mode. Still a little bit of like the Khazarite religion, but not much else. And Sami Norse, which isn't surprising at all. Cool. Okay, now moving into more Eastern Europe. I thought Poland would be more of a thing by now, but I guess not. No, Great Moravia, however. Kind of getting there. Cool. And I guess we're kind of veering farther south than Eastern Europe. What else? Kyiv, looking pretty good, I guess. Still existing, fantastic. Moldavia, also looking pretty good. Cool. Hungary, still Taltosh-ist, or whatever. Huh. I wonder if the AI does have a tendency to convert to Catholicism with Hungary. Because that's kind of the idea, right? Is that the Arpad dynasty or whatever converted to Catholicism, at least historically speaking, I think. But anyways, and moving into the Balkan area. I guess besides Serbia, no other kingdoms have really sprung up around here. Bulgaria, looking like Bulgaria, I guess. I'm assuming it's gonna get swallowed up by the Byzantines at some point, who, it seems, were unable to break off the, or shake off the stupidity curse that they've had for many generations now. It all started with some random asshole just out of nowhere being stupid, insanely stupid, and then he passed that on to his heir, of course, who passed that on to his heir in a more diminished capacity, who then passed it on to his heir again. So yeah, the Byzantines just, it's been a struggle for them, but not as much like exploding of or internal combustion as I was expecting, gotta be said. But yeah, also weren't as big of a threat as I was expecting either. I'm glad that we were able to avoid any conflict with them, and we were able to just use the convince de jure territory to get them to relinquish their territory. Because like I said, from a role-playing perspective, I think that made a lot of sense. What with our respect for the Greeks and the respect that they've had for the ancient Egyptians back in the day, when Alexander the Great liberated ancient Egypt from the rule of the Persians. But anyways, that's the Ptolemy dynasty that I'm talking about, of course. Okay, so moving on to Bulanid. Are they always the Bulanid? Oh wow, pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Cool. Anyways, Bulanid, going a little broke, but otherwise ruled by who appears to be Jolo Truglio, I think. Famous for his role as Detective Boyle. Fucking love that show. Anyways, yeah, besides that, not much else. And still Kuzarite and still Khazar. Alright. Moving on to, let's go to this part of the world. Oh man, the Abbasids. Holy shit, they got fucked over hard. I know I had mentioned that, and for a little while it seemed that after we broke off from the Abbasids that we weren't actually gonna tear them apart as much as I advertised, but we kind of did. We kind of did tear them apart fair bit, didn't we? Yeah, I mean, they had their own internal problems. I think they were broke for like the longest time. I still don't understand how the Abbasids were constantly broke. Like, I made the joke about them ordering their groceries off fucking Sky Mall, but it really does seem like they were just somehow unable to make money and were at the same time like expending a crap ton, which I guess kind of explains, you know, basically any downturn in the economy, isn't it? But yeah, that was hilarious. And now they've been reduced to this. Even the empire itself is not ruled by the Abbasids. That is absolutely hilarious. The Caliphate still belongs to them though, but still. Oh, Kurdish now. Because he was Armenian, and now it's Kurdish Caliph. That's funny. But anyways. Yeah, since they're all really scattered, I don't know if there's much to really say about the individual realms. Religion map mode. Got of the apostolic culture religion there. And cultural map mode. Yeah, a lot of the Mashriki, I guess a lot of cultural blending kind of focused around this area here. Mashriki, I guess being one of the more developed cultures, then blending with the other cultures to become even more powerful and whatnot. Cool, good for them. And moving on to, I guess we'll go to the Persia area. Saffarids, I feel like they've kind of expanded a little bit more to the north, but not much besides. Yeah, nothing too crazy happening here. Tahirid, they were a thing too, weren't they? Yeah. Oh, what is this? Fruharid? Interesting. Very interesting. Alright, cool. That seems somewhat new-ish, but maybe not. Ogu's ill. They were there before too. Why is there like several Bashrikias? What the fuck? Whatever. I guess that's par for the course. The AI does that a lot. Oh, did I not look at this part of the world as much? Sorry. Cultural map mode. And religion map mode. And I'll kind of go through these parts a little bit faster because a lot of the territorial exchanges are very surface level. Yeah. Angara seems kind of new, but also maybe not. I don't know. It just seems a little bit bigger, but yeah. Cultural map mode and religion map mode. I think it would be cool to eventually play as the Turumic religion, but whatever. Seems the Han realm hasn't really expanded much either. No. But anyways, moving into the Tibet area. Yeah, I guess I was kind of expecting more consolidation with the Tibet region, but didn't really happen, I suppose. Oh well, that's fine. It happens, I guess. Religion map mode. Oh, Tengriism. More of that. And cultural map mode. Oh, interesting. This is definitely a recently hybridized culture. Is that a good idea, agrarian in a mountainous region? I imagine you can't have a lot of farmland and stuff here, right? Yeah, that seems like a pretty poor choice. But whatever. I'm assuming the Kanauji, yeah, they have the agrarian stuff for sure. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a little sad that the Tibet region wasn't more consolidated, but oh well. Damn! Glorious, eh? Interesting. Oh, that's still not the top. Oh, never mind. Legendary's the top. Okay, I thought they were maybe close to the very tippity top, but whatever. Cool. Not too much there, I guess. Seoul. Of course, this is the first round that we started this whole game with. Yeah. I mean, you know, that's the first round that we picked as our first campaign for CK3. And now we finally move on to India. Almost said Egypt. Nope. I guess the Chada are a little bit bigger. Orissa are also kind of bigger-ish. But largely still pretty fractured. I was also kind of expecting a bit more consolidation here as well, but not as much here, I guess. And also not as much mixing of cultures as I was expecting. A little bit here and there, but I thought there'd be a lot more cultural hybridization and whatnot, and divergence. I'm surprised. Cool. Alright, I don't know if there's anything else that I have missed here. I think that's about pretty much it, and I, again, don't want this to go on for too long. Holy crap, this is going on for a long time. I'm so sorry about that, but, yeah. Okay, so we'll talk about the future, a little bit. Okay, so I'm sure by this point you may have noticed that there have been a lot more gaps in the episodes in this campaign, and not just a lot more gaps, but also significant gaps. Because usually I would have a gap of maybe an episode or two, like a day or two or whatever, and then it would just be back to normal operations. But yeah, you may have noticed that there's been a lot more gaps in this campaign, and I foresee that it's because I've been getting... I don't want to get too into it, but essentially in real life I've been getting a lot busier, and I'm going to only get even busier as time goes on. So, what I'm trying to say is that obviously there's not going to be a new campaign until the release of the next DLC, but even after the release of the next DLC, I think it may be a long while before you see new content from me. And I can't really give you a timeline. I can't tell you when to expect a new campaign, if ever. And I don't want this to sound like this is my like farewell or something like that, because that's not the intention here. I mean, I obviously I could have done a lot more, and I could have done better with the growth of the channel over the years. But over the past few years, I feel as though I've worked tirelessly to get to the point that we are at now. And over the course of this campaign, we hit over 7,000 subscribers. So that was amazing. And I would hate for that to all just be, I guess, thrown away. So this isn't the end, but I also want you to be fully aware that it might be a very, very long time before you can expect a new campaign. Because I'm not at that point yet where I feel stable enough in what I've done and what I do, rather, to be able to also provide continuous content. Because I don't want to do like 2 episodes per weekend or something like that. That's just, it's not good enough for me. It needs to be like almost a daily thing. Otherwise, it's just not worth doing for me. Because that's just how I prefer to do things. So, it's going to be a little while before new content comes out for this channel. But also bear in mind that it may not ever happen. It's a possibility. All right. I'm saying that I don't want it to be, but it's a distinct possibility that this may actually be the final campaign and final series on this channel. It's possible. I don't want it to be, but there's a chance that it might happen. So, don't ask me when the next campaign's gonna be, because I will not have an answer for you. I do not know. And I also don't know what the next campaign will be, if there is one. But yeah, hopefully it'll be not too long from now, and hopefully it'll be good, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been having a lot of fun with this, especially with this campaign. It's been being able to explore different parts of the gameplay and all that stuff, building up our dynasty, coming up with historical or names that are more historical and all that stuff. A lot of great fun. But even though I really, really want to do more campaigns and continue on, it's just I don't have the time or the energy to keep this up. So it's going to be quite some time. What I may end up doing is I might stream on the weekends. It's possible. I still haven't really kind of like found a good time, or being able to maintain my work-life balance to the point where I can juggle all that. I'm sure there are other people who can, but I personally am having a difficult time finding that niche, I guess, to carve out. So yeah, maybe in the future, if I do stream Crusader Kings, maybe it'll be on the YouTube side, or maybe I'll just keep everything on the Twitch side of things. I don't know for sure. We'll see. I still need to kind of get back into streaming. It's been a little while, so apologies for that for anyone who's been kind of keeping on top of my, or trying to keep on top of my streaming stuff, but yeah. So, that's, I guess, kind of it for the future talk. It's up in the air, is essentially what I'm trying to say. And I wish it wasn't. I wish I had a more concrete answer for you in terms of what to expect, but I can't, because I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever be able to get to the point where I can juggle all these things and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't want this to be the end, because again, I've worked so hard to get to this point. It's not an amazing point, I will say. It's amazing compared to where I was before, starting off with, you know, with a small handful of friends being my subscribers, and then just blooming into what we've been able to accomplish now, and building this community that we have that I'm so very happy to see and interact with, and all that. So yeah, let's not let this be a goodbye, but rather a see you later, alligator kind of thing. Or see you in a while, crocodile. I guess kind of more appropriate given our Nile crocodiles and all that stuff too, but yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously I would love to do a campaign in Iberia in some weird and wonderful way, but I don't know what that would be or when that would be, so I'll leave it at that. I was almost tempted to say if this is a goodbye, but I don't even want to say that because I don't want it to be a goodbye. But yeah, let's end the post-mortem here at the almost 2-hour mark. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. This has been such a long post-mortem. I'm so sorry. It really wasn't intended to be, but I guess I do have a bit of a tendency to yammer on, and my throat is starting to really be affected because of it. So yeah, let's end the post-mortem here. I will love you and leave you. Not permanently, hopefully. Hopefully only for a little bit. And I will hopefully see you around in the channel, because there's still some non-CK Crusader Kings related stuff that I really want to finish, like my Assassin's Creed Odyssey stuff. I know it's really old, and I've actually finished through Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my own. The entirety. I fucking got a platinum trophy for it as well. So, you know, I've finished everything, and yet I still haven't finished the Atlantis DLC for Odyssey. So, I'd love to finish that. I also need to finish the Cyberpunk series. So I really don't want to leave things unfinished. It's just, especially with Cyberpunk, you know, the whole, like, I wish I had a better computer, but not being able to buy the relevant computer parts was, I think, a big hang-up. But now that I am kind of busier, I guess maybe, I don't know, who knows, that might actually happen at some point. Or maybe not. Maybe the fact that I'm busier will actually take me away from that more. Who knows? Anyways, let's leave the post-mortem and our glorious Great Pyramids of Pisa campaign here, even though we were sadly unable to build pyramids actually in Pisa. That's something that I'd love to see more of in this game in general. Because they definitely went the right direction with CK2, being able to build the wonders and all that jazz, and monuments and all that stuff. I really wish that we could do that in this campaign, in this as well, and we could have maybe built pyramids in Pisa. I think that would have been amazing, but that's fine. We'll just, you know, accept the fact that once we flip the culture here, that'll be kind of it. You know, at some point that'll happen in the future, but whatever, that's fine. Okay, so that's going to be it for our Great Pyramids of Pisa campaign. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, because I had an absolute blast. Do let me know what you guys thought about the campaign, your highlights, and all that stuff, and you know, stuff that maybe you'd like to see more of in the future. Who knows? And if you have, you know, suggestions for future campaigns, again, it might be a long while before you know how I had that 5-month gap in my content for a little while there? Yeah, it might be like that, but longer. Possibly. Yeah, possibly longer than that. So your suggestions might seem like it's falling on deaf ears for quite some time, but who knows? Maybe in the future, if I do come back, then I can explore some of those suggestions or something. We'll see. We'll see. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this campaign, as well as content in this channel for quite some time now, I think. So, thank you all so much for your continued love and support and enjoyment of the content. You know, you guys spending your time with me, watching me, and listening to me ramble on about various useless garbage and nonsense has been an absolute pleasure. And I will endeavor to, of course, continue that and experience more of that and deliver more of my content in the future. But again, it might be a little while from now. So, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, but that's going to be it for this campaign. So, thank you so very much for everything. Thank you for watching and commenting and your helpful hints and suggestions, etc., etc. Yeah, and thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and supper, or whatever you have, I guess. So, all right, well, that's it for me. You know what? I'll just leave it at thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing breakfast.